Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm Brenda Winkle, an intuitive leadership coach and somatic guide for high performers, high achievers who want more freedom, ease, joy, and energy. You are a visionary leader, driven, intuitive, and ready for more. More flow in your work, more presence and joy in your life and relationships, more trust in yourself and the decisions you make every day. Here, we explore the intersection of intuition, leadership, and energetic sovereignty, blending practical strategy with energetic alignment so you can create success that feels deeply fulfilling at work, at home, in your relationships, and in your own well-being. You'll hear inspiring stories, practical strategies, and high-level conversations designed to help you integrate the woo into your daily life. Because when your energy is aligned, everything flows. Ready to elevate how you lead and live? Start by downloading my free energy audit at brendawinkle.com/audit and discover what's fueling or depleting you. Let's do this. Your yes-filled life starts now. Okay, so you've built this beautiful life and your successful career, powerful presence, and a calendar full of responsibilities that once lit you up, but lately something has made it feel just a little bit heavier. So let me ask you something. What if this was your moment to soften into a new way of leading? I'm Brenda Winkle, a psychic medium, somatic coach, and intuitive guide, and I work privately with high achieving women who are ready to trust themselves more deeply, to reclaim their energy and lead from the inside out. In our one-on-one coaching together, you'll experience the kind of support that's both deeply spiritual and highly strategic. I'll bring my psychic gifts, mediumship, and somatic tools to help you move through emotional residue, to help you get really clear on what matters most to you, to help you clear your energetic field, and lead in a way that feels powerful, precise, and completely aligned with who you really are. Leadership can feel really lonely, but it doesn't have to. This isn't about doing more, it's about being more you. If you've been craving personalized support, intuitive insight, and energetic sovereignty, this is your invitation. Go to brendawinkle.com/coaching to learn more, because your yes-filled life, it starts the moment you say yes to yourself. Hello, and welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about how you can expand your energetic capacity, why you'd want to, what the benefits are, and I'm going to show you 3 practices that you can use to expand your capacity, including a quick breathwork session right here in this podcast episode. So stay tuned to the very end so you can take advantage of that breathwork. I am so excited to be talking to you about this because when we begin to talk about expanding your energetic capacity, it is so powerful. The reason is it's actually the key to doing what you love without abandoning your body or your boundaries or your life or your family. And whether you're a coach, a teacher, a healthcare worker, or a woman navigating leadership and family all at once, this is for you. And so when we think about expanding your capacity, it doesn't mean doing more. It's not one more thing to do. It's not actually going to make anything harder. In fact, it's going to make things so much easier for you because you're just going to be able to handle things in a different way. Why? Because expanding your capacity means that you are expanding your nervous system. And that means that it's going to take you much more to get to a stress response. Your body will literally be more tolerant of stress. And you'll also learn the skills to be able to release stress in a really effective way so that if you do have stress, which we all do, you'll have some practices that you can use from this episode to put into place right away so that you can feel better and come back into a more regulated state. So, what does it mean to expand your capacity? Well, I like to think of it in terms of relationships. So when I am looking for friendships or romantic partners or people that I want to be close to, I'm looking for a quality of I've got me and you've got you. And I know that if I've got me and you've got you, I can trust that we can come together and then create whatever it is we want to create, whether it's a business partnership or a podcast collaboration or a friendship. Because when I've got me and you've got you, then if one of us needs something, we're using language around asking for what we need. And it's a very healthy, strong feeling relationship that allows for connection and communication in a really beautiful way where there's reciprocity. And I think that, so many times I hear this all the time, how hard it is to make friends when you're in your 40s and 50s. And one of the things that I'm looking for in my friends is I've got me and you've got you. And I invite you to borrow that because you'll find some amazing friendships when that becomes one of the measuring qualities for your friends because they're not going to be asking you to hold more than their share or of stuff, meaning they're not going to dump their life all over you or, come in with heavy stuff and expect you to take care of it for them. Will people ask for help? Yes, that's what friends do. But when I've got me and you've got you, there's a different vibe to it than help me, save me, right? And you and I both know that no one's coming in to save either of us. There are people there that can help, but really it comes down to our own willingness to help ourselves. And so when you expand this capacity, it's going to allow you to hold more without being negatively affected by stress. So, holding more might mean holding more clients. It might mean holding more ideas where you can find a way to work a little bit less hard and smarter. It might mean that you can hold more emotions, experiencing the full range of emotions and allowing those emotions to be a GPS to help you know where to go when. Holding more also means you can say yes to more opportunities. Now, I'm not saying you do more. Remember, we're not talking about doing more. We're talking about holding more and holding more of the things that you want to be holding. The other thing that happens when you expand your capacity is it allows you to feel your feelings without collapsing. And the collapsing energy is like, think of a house of cards collapsing inward. That is a collapsing energy where we're just kind of collapsing in on ourselves. And then oftentimes what happens is we get in that position and we're looking for someone to save us. It's like a victim mentality. It's a very disempowering state. And it's definitely not the I've got you, you've got me, or I've got me, you've got you vibe. It's more like I need you to get me because I don't have me. And when we're in that state, we can be taken advantage of, we can be looked over for promotions, and it can be very difficult to get opportunities to stick because people question our ability to be able to stand up inside whatever it is that we're asking for. So that's one of the biggest benefits of expanding your capacity is you literally expand your capacity and it's felt. People will see it and feel it and they know that you can actually do the thing that you're trying to do. Another benefit of expanding your capacity is that you're able to let in success without so much self sabotage. I don't know that self sabotage ever goes away completely. That conversation that we had with Chris Driscoll on the podcast a few episodes ago, she was talking about the archetypes of the saboteurs. And, she's in this work and I'm in this work, and we both still sometimes come up against different self saboteurs. And so knowing that they're there and being aware and watchful for them because we have expanded capacity is so, so helpful because then we can create that awareness of, oh, I'm in a self-sabotaging pattern. Whoops. And then you can go back and make a different choice. Another really important component of expanding your capacity is noticing when your inner critic speaks up. I don't like the term inner critic so much. I like inner mean girl. When your inner mean girl is active, she if she's anything like my inner mean girl, can be really cruel. But what happens when you expand your capacity is you'll start to notice a thought that feels like a mean girl thought, and then you can choose a better thought instead of spiraling. I have two ways I love to do this, and they're very similar. One is when I notice a mean thought, I'm like, delete, delete, delete. No, 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 delete, delete. Like, I don't want that energy. I don't want that thought. And the other thing I'll do sometimes is I'll say, cancel, cancel, cancel. So that I'm like, no, that is not how I'm going to be thinking. And it does take some self discipline to be like, I'm not going to allow myself to think those mean things. And when you expand your capacity, it becomes so much more easy to notice when that inner mean girl is activated. And the other benefit, the last benefit that we're going to talk about in this episode of expanding your capacity is it's a way for you to be able to release self-doubt because you've created the space to notice when that self-doubt pops up. And then you can question it and shift it. So let me tell you a real life story of a client that I worked with named Katie. So Katie was a successful architect working in a big architectural firm run predominantly by men. In fact, I think she might have been the only woman in her architecture firm. And she came to me, we worked one-on-one in a coaching capacity, and that was amazing. She began to really expand her capacity. She was able to challenge any negative self-talk, any limiting beliefs, any self-doubt. And then when I offered Reiki training, she decided that that would be a really good thing for her, and she chose to get Reiki I attuned. And after doing this deep inner work through the coaching and then learning Reiki, and I taught it with breathwork then too, she expanded her capacity, not just emotionally, but energetically. And throughout this process of our time together, I've watched her go from working for this firm that was primarily men to giving herself the gift of being able to leave that career, taking time to develop and build a company of her own. And now she works for her own architectural firm that is doing very well. In fact, I think it's a word of mouth only architecture firm where she just goes from referral to referral. And she's done some very, very high profile jobs that for organizations you would know. And she's doing it all on referral because she was able to release that self doubt and she was able to find the clarity around what she really wanted. So, over the time we were working together, she left the firm, she started a business, she got Reiki certified. And then here's the thing, she is an architect. She doesn't use Reiki as a healer, she uses Reiki as an architect and in her personal life. So she has a small child and a dog and a cat and a husband, and she has a self Reiki practice and she practices Reiki with the dog, the cat, and the husband as well, just when they need it. And it's been really, really life changing for her. And she's also using Reiki in the architectural work that she does because she reads energy now because of her Reiki attunement. She didn't just change her skills. I mean, she has improved and increased her skills since becoming an architect. She's very committed to her personal development. And so she's absolutely done the architecture trainings, but she's also done her deep interpersonal work. She's increased her capacity to hold more without losing herself in the process. In fact, she's living a more aligned life where she's living her values as a result of doing that deep inner work and becoming Reiki attuned. It's so rewarding and cool to watch. So, why does this matter to you? Well, you know, here's the thing. I have been sitting with a question for several months. And my question is, if I had the skills that I have now, could I have stayed in education until my retirement? And I think the answer is yes. Now, I don't regret leaving education. I'm very happy and fulfilled doing what I do. And I'm also watching my friends who came into the district that I started in Idaho retire now. And so it just feels a way to watch them in their retirement. And I'm just curious, like, what would that be like for me? Because it's not my reality. And so I just want to say Number one, I'm very happy with my decision. I wouldn't redo it. And number two, I watch people who leave education and they're not as happy with their decision. So, what would it be like if you had the skills to stay just a little bit longer in your career, and or this if you had the self-care skills to be able to support yourself if you decided you needed a pivot to support you through that process, whether that means applying for a different job or starting a business, whatever that would mean. What would it be like for you to have that self-care, that self-healing support? Well, here's one thing, you wouldn't have to blow up your life. And you don't have to blow up your life to feel better anyway. Most people don't. Some people do. And it's okay if you're someone who wants to. That's absolutely allowed. I sort of did that. And I wouldn't do it any other way. I thought it was the right thing for me and I would do it again. And I also really felt like I burned down a career that I loved. And so if that doesn't feel good to you and you want a different way to either pivot or to last longer in your career, finding ways to increase your capacity is going to be really important. Another benefit of increasing your capacity is you have more access to creativity and joy and fulfillment simply because you're feeling better. You're resourcing yourself when you have an expanded capacity because it takes less or it takes more to get you into a stress state, which is really, really life changing. Which leads us to the fourth and final benefit of why it matters to expand your capacity, and that is you get to enjoy the life you're building. Life is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not something that you can like check a bunch of boxes on, as you know. And I keep having to remind myself of that because I'm at a stage in my life and my career where I am looking at people who are further ahead than me. And I keep meeting a lot of these people that I really admire. And when I have conversations with them, one of the things I'm learning is they still feel like they have a ways to go until they quote unquote get there. And it's so interesting because I heard someone say that about me. Like they thought I had arrived. And I, am in my own thinking about, well, I want this to happen and this to happen. And so when we can slow down and just enjoy the life we built, we have so much freedom and so many more choices, and we get so much more joy out of our lives. So let's give you those three ways that you can start expanding your capacity. We're going to have a simple 3-minute breath work, and you can use this to reset between clients, to reset between patients, maybe at the end of your lunch break. You could also use it in your commute on the way home. You could just sit in the car either at your workplace and do it, or you could get close to home and then sit and do it. And the one thing that was always true for me is everybody in the house, my dogs, my daughter, they all knew when I got home. And so it wouldn't have worked for me to do that in my own driveway. But sometimes you could pull over, and I'm telling you, 3 minutes is going to be absolutely game changing. So let's do that now. We're going to use a pattern in through the nose and out through the mouth. And the clicking that you hear is me changing my computer. I'm going to share some sound with you. So we'll have a little bit of music for this 3-minute breath session. Now, I have to remind you, if you don't know, it's not advisable for you to drive while you're doing breath work. It's not advisable for you to be in water during breath work. And so if you're driving, my invitation would be just enjoy the music and continue your regular breath. Same thing for you if you're in water. And then you could save this episode and come back and listen again. Let's get ready to breathe. So, invitation to get comfortable and allow yourself to be really held by the surface beneath you, relaxing the body, unclenching the belly, ungripping the hands. And we'll be breathing a 2-part breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And our practice will last about 3 minutes. Just a quick reminder that we want to make sure that we are being safe. If you're driving, you'll come back to this. And when you're ready, invitation to begin a breath pattern in through the nose, out through the mouth. That's it. Invitation to set your own pace, trusting your body to find the perfect speed. Invitation to notice if you're clenching anything. And as you breathe and you keep the breath moving in the body, begin to release and relax any muscles that you have been holding tight. Beautiful breathing. Invitation to keep that breath moving in the body. And perhaps you feel like you'd like to move. Invitation to do that. Allowing yourself to wiggle your hands or feet, move your head from side to side. Invitation to inhale deeply, holding the breath just briefly at the top before exhaling completely. Beautiful. Invitation to do that one more time. Inhale deeply through the nose, holding briefly at the top, and exhaling completely. Beautiful. So, in this 2.5 minute practice, probably feel really different just from taking time to slow down and breathe. And if you ever join me for breath work on Mondays or Wednesdays, I also include a beautiful playlist. I love to breathe to music. So if you didn't know, I have breath work available every Monday and every Wednesday, and you're invited. So you can learn more about that by going to brendawinkle.com/breathwork. And of course, if you want to have an individual private session, that's an option too. But the breath is so powerful because what we're doing is we're taking over what's normally an autonomic nervous system function. And that's what makes it so absolutely profound. I hope. So I'd be curious to know. Tell me on Instagram at Brenda Winkle. Do you feel any better? Do you feel a little bit less stressed, little less anxious? So that's what the power of the breath can do in just a few moments. It can just make you feel so much better. So, another way that you can expand your capacity in addition to a daily breathwork practice is you can do a daily self Reiki treatment. And you will need to be Reiki attuned for this, but I have you covered because I have a new self healing certification that includes not only breathwork, not only Reiki, but also meditation to meet your busy mind exactly where it is. And so, I teach meditation in a very specific way, and a lot of it is based on what I learned in my theta healing meditation technique practitioner training. And it's not the same as, but it's based on. And so, inside this self healing certification, I'm going to show you how you can braid together all of these practices: the breath work, the Reiki, the meditation. It's a 6 week experience that's going to help you expand your energetic and emotional capacity so that you can lead, live, and love from a place that feels sustainable, where it feels natural for you to be able to enjoy life's journeys because you'll just feel so much more resourced. And you actually do get certifications in Reiki 1, breathwork for self, and in meditation for busy minds. Gotta love a certification. So this is a brand new offer. And so I'm offering an early bird special. If you enroll between now and May 30th, you can save $300 and enroll in this 6 week program with $300 savings. So and it takes it down to $597 for 6 weeks and 3 certifications. So this is a really cool experience because I'm capping the container size, meaning there will only be 20 people in this certification program. And so you're going to have everything that you need for calm, joy, and being more present at the end of the certification. So this is for you if you've already done so much already and you're ready for more, meaning you know that every single time you choose not to disappoint someone else, you are choosing to disappoint yourself. And even though you're aware of it and you are even aware that it's happening sometimes, it still sometimes feels scary to choose yourself. And if you're ready to change that, this is a beautiful place to do that. Maybe you're experiencing some of these things, like you find yourself in a high stake meeting holding your breath. You smile, you stay composed, but your chest is tight. And this could happen in person or on Zoom. But then you find yourself ignoring your gut and overriding your signals just to get through it. And so you find yourself saying things like, I just have to get through this meeting, or I just have to get through this week. This is for you if you find yourself waking up at 3 a.m., replaying conversations in your mind, whether that's from the client or the teacher that you spoke with or the other physician, wondering if you've over-explained, or maybe you end up finding yourself scrolling on your phone just because you feel so anxious you need something to do. If you ever absorbed energy from clients, customers, coworkers, patients, or family, you might be walking away from conversations that aren't even emotional, feeling exhausted, and you can't quite explain it. And this is for you if you sometimes find yourself snapping at the people you love, and then you feel terrible about it, but you really want to be present. You want to be there with your family, more grounded, more calm, more patient. But by the end of the day, right now, you are just done. And the people that love you get what's left of you. So this course is different. It's not about perfecting a morning routine. It's not about becoming a guru. It's not about outsourcing your healing to anyone else. It's about regulating your nervous system and restoring your energy and reclaiming your power in real life right now. So, in 6 weeks, you're going to build a daily rhythm that includes a combination of Reiki, breathwork, and meditation designed for ambitious and intuitive women just like you. You're going to feel calmer and clearer, more in control without quitting your job or retreating from the world. You'll get to stop spiraling and start choosing. You'll get to stop reacting and start responding. And you'll stop self abandoning and start coming home. So to learn more, go to brendawinkle.com/self-healing. And this is a live course with live calls and Reiki certification, breathwork certification, certification for meditation for busy minds. And, I'm very, very excited. We begin on June 11th. And when you register, you'll get the entire schedule. And of course, if you want it now, I'll give it to you. But this is a game changer. This is what my clients have been asking me for, and I'm so excited to be sharing it with you because no matter what you decide to do in your life, whether it's pivot or continue down the road, I want you to do it with resources and intentionality so that you don't feel like you have to do something. You feel like you get to. You feel like you can make a choice. Thank you so much for listening. I just appreciate it more than I can ever express. If you like this episode, would you please consider sharing it with a friend? And if you would please leave the podcast a rating or a review wherever you're listening, it is incredibly helpful. Thank you for being here. Bye for now.